with a background of musical theatre, jazz, commercial dance, and I came to contemporary dance theatre much later in my life, so I've kind of got a more broader view and experience of dance overall than some maybe pure contemporary dance choreographers. And I like the idea that my work appeals to a much broader audience. I want to make dance itself a more accessible subject and a more accessible form of art for people. I grew up in Ireland and I went to an all-girls Catholic school from the age of 4 to 18, and we never learned about women's history. And when I was of 8 at the voting age, my mum said to me, you have to vote because women fought for you to vote, and I didn't know what she was talking about. So I felt really ignorant and uneducated in that area. And then when I realised that 2018 was the centenary of the Representation of the People's Act, I thought, this would be a great dance theatre piece, and I can learn so much more about this subject. And when I was researching, I was just so shocked at elements of how women were treated. They were put in prison just for, going to a march.
My involvement and character in this particular show is sort of deciding and struggling whether she wants to become a suffragette and is committed enough to the cause, and that in turn causes some struggles at home with her husband and family. So it can be quite a brutal part to play, character-wise, getting into that, and also physically as well. It can be quite tough because it's, you kind of get thrown about a little bit, and but it's good. It's different from anything else that I've done before. Sometimes you need a little bit of a minute to just prepare yourself for it and get into character. It's a bit like method acting, I guess.
In this particular project, I have brought my women's choir to be part of the performance of Deeds, Not Words. And we have brought songs which are about women's experience in modern society and throughout the world, but which also reflect the struggle for equality for women. The project is about women's suffrage, and this is a subject very dear to our hearts, to me and to the women in my choir, because where we rehearse and sing, and many of us live, we have a very famous suffragette who died in the cause of suffrage, Emily Wilding Davison, and she is buried in the town where we rehearse. And so every year we gather and we honour her and sing songs which are in the show. So it's, the cause of women's suffrage is still a very important one throughout the world. There is still many places, obviously, where women do not have the vote. And it's very important for us here in Britain, in England, for us to remember what women had to do to gain some equality here. And there are still women who do not vote. They have the vote, but they don't use it. It's very important to remind people what their sisters suffered so that they had the right to vote.
The activities, the things that they did in order to fight for the vote, I mean a whole range of things. So I get involved with all kinds of activities to enter those conversations and really to look about what's the relevance today and how are we going to share that legacy with future generations. What's changed, what hasn't changed. I think it's very confusing because I think young women get so many mixed messages. And I would say a number of things. Find older women who will support you and talk to you about how they handle things, and support each other, always support each other. Find women who are very honest and clear, because you know we're all human and some of us have at times we're more supportive than others, but really look for support and think carefully, you know, what is it that really matters to me, and don't give up.
Oh, absolutely. Very nice.
Quick question on costume.